Okay, what's going on, Tycoons? Super excited for today's video. We are going to be looking at TSUKA, okay? Not sure how to say this one. I say it's Suka, okay? Definitely recommend following their Twitter. All right, they've been around for, I think around like 4 months, 6 months, something like that, okay? And it's, there's a lot of interesting stuff going on, okay? Once upon a time, a bull met the dragon. I love this, okay? If you've been missing out on this coin, you have missed out on some massive gains, okay? Let's go ahead and look at this. And this is 8,000%, okay? This coin went up, I'm sorry, 82,000%, all right, at its highs, all right? Now we have pulled back. I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a complete breakdown. You're going to learn so much in this video. We're going to go over the Fibonacci's, how to use those to give yourself valid price targets and figure out where these algorithms are pushing the price to and where they're retracing back to as well. We're going to identify some key patterns, okay, chart patterns that you can start to use yourself to really identify some potential movement, whether to the upside or the downside. And we're also going to cover a little bit of divergence, okay? So it's going to be a lot you'll learn in the video, and the video isn't going to be very long, so make sure you stay tuned all the way to the end, okay? So if you're wondering what's going on my chart right now, I'm going to do most of the charting live in the video, all right? But I want to cover these two things right here. These are the Fibonacci retracements, right? And so what I'm doing is I'm taking the swing high from this point, connecting it to the swing low of this point, okay? And above this blue level here is going to give us our breakout price targets, right? I want you guys to see how off of the first initial swing high to swing low, how we perfectly hit the max extension on the fibs on that. Okay. We came up here, we wicked up to that price level, and we're pulling back now as a result of, people taking profit. Okay. So keep that in mind. All right. This is where I'm getting those from. If we go forward, okay, to some of the recent price action, all right, we can see that we have some very nice price levels up here. Okay, I'll go ahead and turn the prices on for you guys so that you can see some potential future bullish price targets. Okay, we are going to be looking at potentially if we get above this 0.155 level right here. Okay, we could potentially head up to 0.187 and even all the way up to 0.20. Okay, now there is some things you need to be cautious of. We're going to cover those in the end of the video, but for now, we're going to go ahead and jump into how you could have seen some of these potential moves. Okay. So the first pattern here that I like, all right, is going to be a inverse head and shoulders. All right, so we'll go ahead and draw that up real quick. And what it's going to be is we've got a left shoulder here, we've got a head, and we've got a right shoulder here. Okay, so boom, boom, boom. All right, and we came over and we got that extension. We hit that price target perfectly. Okay, so this pattern played out perfectly. This nice inverse head and shoulders. Okay, now from there, okay, we kept the bullish momentum, kept rallying, and we formed a descending wedge, right? Notice how we bouncing in between this wedge. All right, that is a bullish pattern. A descending wedge is a bullish pattern indicating you may have some bullishness in the future, right? And of course, what do? We get a very nice breakout to the upside, and this coin just keeps rallying, right? So we got a very, very nice move off of that, off of those two chart patterns right there. First, the inverse head and shoulders, okay, and then the nice descending wedge with a breakout to the upside. Okay, this coin hasn't been around for very, very long. So there's lots of hype. Okay, look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin is not performing the same as this, right? This is what happens with a lot of new altcoins. And everybody made a lot of money in the past off of these altcoin hypes. So, you need to be careful and make sure you do take some profits if you're in this, if you've been in this, because, it may not last forever. All right. And we're going to go over here, right, and look at our fib again, okay? And what we're doing again is we're taking our swing high to our swing low. So here's our swing high, here's our swing low, all right? And it's giving us the breakout level, and it's giving us valid price targets. And look at how well they line up, right? This is why I like using the fibs, is because it's a math formula that exists throughout nature, okay? So it's not something that's just relevant to cryptocurrency or even the stock market. It does exist in those places, but this is something that you'll find across through nature is going to be the Fibonacci formula. All right. That's why it's really important to pay attention to it. Okay. And that's why I like to use it a lot. Now look at where we're bouncing and finding some support, right? We're finding some support along our Fibonacci price targets, right? We have this little box right here is what I would call our demand zone at the moment, okay? So if we break below 0.11279, most likely we're going to head back down to 0.104, okay? but there's nothing saying that this thing can't keep going more. All right. The only things to be cautious of is we are above, or we're currently right at 70 on the RSI. Okay. Notice how when we came up to here, we were above 70. Above 70 on the RSI is overbought, right? It's the RSI is the relative strength index, and it's going to show you some overbought and some oversold levels, right? So typically you don't want to buy when you are above 70 on the RSI, because things are overbought and you may see a pullback, right? And we did get a very nice pullback, okay, from 0.155 down to 0.11. All right. So you have to keep that in mind. Okay. These things are very important. All right. Right here. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and take this off now, and we'll go over some more patterns real quick. Okay. We went over the descending wedge. Okay. We had a very nice breakout there. And in that process, we formed a very nice bull flag. Okay. This is our bull flag right here. Okay. Right here. All right, that's our nice bull flag. Okay, and we got a breakout to the upside. We came to our take profit level. Okay, and we took some profits. We see people, algos and other traders selling and taking some profits. But we're seeing that it's continuing this basis of making higher highs. I'm sorry, higher lows and higher highs. Right, so we have a low here, higher low here, higher low here. We're gonna want to see that continue. Okay, we're not gonna want to see it come down and make a lower high. Okay, that's gonna be the beginning of a possible downtrend. Okay. So everything's still leading to bullish. Again, what I really want people to be cautious of is bearish divergence. Okay, and we're going to go over bearish divergence real quick, and highlight really how important it is. Okay, so let me put my trend line tool on real quick, and we'll go ahead and do this nice and simply for you guys. So look at our RSI up here. Okay, we're at 90 right here at this level on the RSI. Okay, so we're seeing the RSI, or we're seeing the price action of the candles continue up higher, right? But there's a divergence right here, okay, where the RSI is actually going down a little bit. So we're at 90 here on the RSI, and we come down to about 89. Meanwhile, the price has went from 0.012 all the way up to 0.044. Okay, so this is an indication that you may see some bearishness in the future, right? And what do you know? We do get a nice pullback, all right? We pull back down right here to 0.0108. All right. And then we start a new uptrend. Okay. It's continuing that thing of making higher lows. Okay. That I spoke of earlier. Right. So we have a low, we have a higher low, higher low, higher low. It's continuing that trend. It's continuing the uptrend. Okay. But you can give yourself some signals of, okay, well, maybe I can take profit up here because we're starting to form a slight bearish divergence, and I can look to get back in at a cheaper price, right? There's nothing wrong with taking profits and entering back in. Maybe you entered back in here, here, or here, right? No one knows exactly where the bottom is going to be, but that's what patience is about, right? And we went over how we formed the inverse head and shoulders right here, and that was a nice trade. Okay, so you can go ahead and take some profits off of the bearish divergence, okay, and then wait for the next pattern to form. We have a nice pattern, and then you can take profits on those, okay. We're going to go ahead and zoom in and look again, right? We'll get rid of this one now. All right, and we'll look at the bearish divergence again. Okay, so from this point, we had a high, we created a higher high. Okay, so the price is going up. Meanwhile, the RSI, if we look at this point, we'll take this one out the way now, okay, is going down. That's another bearish divergence. Okay, and sure enough, what do you see? We see, right here, and then we see a sharp move to the downside, right? That's where that move came from. Is, you could have had an indicator of that with the bearish divergence. Okay, we'll go ahead and zoom in some more. All right, and we can see again, it's doing the same thing, guys. It's repeating the same patterns, right? We're coming up, we're going high, higher high. So we're making higher highs, but the RSI is a high and then a lower high. And what do you see again? You see a drop. Okay, it's not the end of the world just because you see a drop, and just because you see bearish divergence doesn't mean something can't keep going up. All right, it did drop, but then it continued up higher. Okay, so that's why these are important indicators for you, is because they can give you a little bit of insight. Okay. The next one we're going to look at, all right, is basically just long term on it, right? Bitcoin looked like this for about a year or two, okay, where we had this very long term bearish divergence, okay? So this is why I'm saying you need to be cautious. We have some price targets we went over. I did take those off the screen just to make it a little bit clearer, and we're going to zoom in a little bit more to the 1 hour chart to really break it down. But I want to show you guys how this is our high right here. All right, and then this is our high right here. Okay, so we have a higher high right here,
and a lower high right here. All right. Now look at the big divergence. Okay. We went from 0.04, okay, all the way up to 0.15, but the relative strength got weaker and weaker. Okay. It came down to 78 when it was up here around 90. Okay. This means that there's some possible bearishness in the future. Okay. And it's pretty long, it's pretty big. So I do think that people need to be cautious of it, because you don't know when the next bear market cycle is going to come through, right? This thing has been nothing but bullish. We haven't seen really any bearishness in it. So I'm not trying to scare everyone, but I do want people to just be prepared just in case you see a pullback. You're expecting it. Okay. And so you want to either have a stop loss somewhere along here, where just in case things do get lower, you can look for a new entry, but still protect yourself and keep those profits. All right. Because a divergence like this will take a while to play out. So I don't think that this thing is going to crash immediately. We already did see a drop. So the bearish divergence may technically have already played out, right? It wasn't a very big drop, but we see that we have the higher highs, right? And then the lower highs here. And we see that we got a nice pullback right after that. Okay. So we haven't really seen this thing go below 50. It just barely came down below 50 two times. So this is something that I think is really important to look at, right? If you can see it coming down towards 50 and holding a valid support level on the chart, okay, this is going to be our next range right here. Okay, this is our next little range where I would be looking for an entry on a pullback. Okay, because what you do is you make old resistance new support, and you make old support new resistance, right? So you have to be level to level. Okay, and we see that we hit the price targets up here. Okay, you're seeing people take profit, and you want to see, are we going to come back down into this area here for a possible re-entry just to move higher, or are we going to continue making higher lows, right? And possibly just pull back down to here, or maybe this is the pullback here. All right, I'm not a fortune teller, I'm not a genie, I don't have a crystal ball. But I really just try to break down everything as I see it. Okay, we're going to go ahead and zoom into the 1 hour chart now and just break down some of the more recent price action, and look for any identifiable patterns, anything like that that we could have used to see some of this happening, right? And the first one that I saw, all right, was this nice little wedge right here. All right, we had a nice ascending wedge, the opposite of the the descending wedge, right? So we can connect these levels right here, right? And we see that we get a nice little ascending wedge. And just like the descending wedge, you're going to zigzag in between these areas ultimately before getting the breakdown. Okay. And we did get that breakdown. We had a very nice move to the downside here. We're starting to recover, and we'll go into divergence some more and look at what we got. We got a nice double bottom. Okay. So this is potentially a W pattern forming in the making, right? A W pattern would look something like this. um, Give me 1 second. It would look like this, right? This would be your W pattern, okay? And it would take us back up to those price levels, right? It's also known as a double bottom. We have a bottom here and a bottom here, okay? Now look at what happened on the RSI. The RSI was going up, okay? So let me use this real quick, all right? So you can see here that the price action is flat, okay? But the RSI went upwards, all right? We went up on the RSI. That's bullish divergence. It's the opposite of bearish divergence, right? So that was an indicator that you may see some potential bullishness in the future, right? And sure enough, what do we get, right? We got a very nice bounce off the double bottom. We got a very nice move to the upside. And, we could have used this chart pattern combined with the bullish divergence as a signal for us to enter in at this level to ride that momentum to the upside. All right. So really appreciate you watching the video. Hopefully you learned something new. Hopefully maybe you discovered this token for the first time. As I went over in the beginning of the video, it's been absolutely crushing it, and outperforming the market as a whole. Will that continue? I don't know for sure, but I'm definitely watching it, and I think you guys should be as well. Okay, so don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. If you want to see your cryptocurrency or stock even in the next video, make sure to comment below, because I do those viewer requests every week. And this one was, in fact, a viewer request. All right. If you made it to the end of this video, you probably will like this one of these next videos next. Okay. So make sure to click that.